What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Recording. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Time for a bit of a more fun video, a less stressful, less angry video. A video about Batwoman. Do you hear that, advertisers? I know a lot of my viewers are out there looking to rent new apartments or to buy homes or to hire lawyers. Do you hear that, advertisers? I'm here, advertiser-friendly Frank, and I'm here to talk about another get woke, go broke scenario. That's right. Batwoman has been all over the place this year. In fact, their mid-season finale had a huge ratings boon, and I was curious, are they going to be able to keep any of that? So this past week, you'll notice that Batwoman, after having a massive viewer increase on December 9th of 114%, almost as many people viewed that mid-season finale episode as watched the premiere. The premiere was 1.860 million. That episode was 1.7 million. Before that, the show had been pretty much decreasing weekly with a couple of random increases as a run-up to the end. And I don't know if you've noticed this. Maybe it's because our cell phones are always listening to us. Maybe it's because of the things I tweet out. But I've absolutely been inundated with Batwoman advertising, whether it's on Twitter, whether I literally get notifications on my phone now. I wonder if it's still there. I got one the other night, or today, for Arrow. And then I get one every Sunday now for Batwoman. Never signed up for that, never asked for it. Google tells me, hey, Batwoman's on. You should watch Batwoman. To that, of course, I say, no, I think I'm okay, buddy. I'm just going to continue on watching whatever it is that I'm watching. Now, I know some of you watch the show and tell me, you know, there's a lot of cringe, but I like the Arrowverse, and that's okay. This last week was a big week, as in the actual show, Batwoman came out. Huge woke moment, trending all over Twitter. Big moment for Batwoman. Now, for those of us in the outside world, we've known this about Batwoman since before the show was ever on air, because that's all the marketing I saw. Yes, Batwoman has a girlfriend. Yes, the Batsuit will be perfect when it fits a woman. Yes, Batwoman is better than Batman because she dates women. Please, Twitter, talk about Batwoman so people can watch Batwoman. We don't really have anything else to say, but Batwoman likes women.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Let me tell you something.
We don't care.
And when you rely on that kind of advertising, when that is your USP or unique selling proposition, you're already targeting an extraordinarily small amount of people. You can bring people into the Arrowverse. You can bring people across from other shows as you intertwine the two storylines, essentially forcing them to watch Batwoman to know what's going on in their other shows. But would it stand alone? After the mid-season finale, the ratings collapsed, down nearly 70% since their mid-season finale. Not only that, it is the lowest rated episode of the season. Now, if we look at the ratings here, we see Monday, 12/9, mid-season finale, gigantic audience, 1.74 million. But if we look, first episode, 1.8, drops to 1.4, to 1.2, stays at 1.2, drops a little bit, drops a little more to 1.1, drops a little more to 1.0, drops a little more to 1.009, a little more to 0.008, then skyrockets to 1.704. Everybody celebrate. And then last week, 0.7 million. That is down 54% from the previous week, and a disastrous number. We see this being covered in Cosmic Book News. Batwoman's ratings collapse with queer episode. Bad news for the CW Batwoman series following the big Crisis on Infinite Earth crossover. Its ratings collapsed as the show suffers its worst viewership to date with the, quote, How Queer Everything Is Today episode. Not including the crossover episode, Batwoman has been averaging 1.26, 1.25 million viewers. but the post-crisis episode that aired on Sunday only managed a series low of 780,000 viewers. That's a 38% drop from the season average and a loss of nearly 500,000 viewers. It's also the first time Batwoman had lower amount of viewers than Supergirl. That is telling you something. Supergirl essentially on life support. Look, Batwoman, Supergirl, these shows are going to continue. They've both been renewed next year. I can only imagine because CW doesn't really have anything else to replace them. Supergirl netting 830,000 viewers on Sunday, which is right around its average for the season, and saw a new look for Brainiac 5 revealed. The CW has already renewed both shows, so for the time being, they aren't going anywhere. The ratings for all CW shows haven't been that good, as viewership for Arrow and The Flash are also down. And even Crisis on Infinite Earth saw lower viewership than last year's Elseworlds crossover. Crisis even nosedived in ratings following the holiday break. While true, the show gets a boost when the 7-day DVR viewers are factored in. The live numbers, especially the latest for Batwoman, are quite alarming. Now, that is something that's been interesting. That's something that I don't think I've always done a good job delineating between, because I thought that it was all baked in. But after finding out that, hey, these are the actual numbers, and let's look at Watchmen. Something like their live viewership is only 10% of their average viewership. So when I was initially looking at that, I was like, wow, only 1 million people watch Watchmen? This is like HBO's biggest show. Well, then it came out that, no, this doesn't include DVR. So that's more like 7 million. Now, I'm sure they fudged that number up a little bit. I'm sure that's not exact how it should be. But nonetheless, certainly more people are watching it than we're looking at the live viewers. And when we look at you know, these ratings, they do have an asterisk by it saying fast affiliate ratings not available yet. I would say when we look at these numbers, though, they're all directional, at least, as they're all, how do you say, missing the same numbers. So, you know, the 54% viewership drop is still real. And unless there's some reason that literally everybody went to DVR, which, again, why would that have happened this week and not any other week? It seems like we can look at this being directional, and these ratings are brutal. But, you know, you get articles like the Mary Sue, Batwoman just came out to Gotham because, you know, because reasons. Batwoman just came out. No, not in our world, where we've celebrated her for this for a while. Batwoman, the hero, not Kate Kane, the person, came out within the world of the CW show, letting Gotham City know she's out, and not in the bargain Chris Evans cop that people were shipping her with. It was an interesting move for the masked superhero, but it shows why having heroes that represent all people really do matter. I don't know. I don't look at the world through that lens. Again, some people would just say, hey, it's because he's straight and he doesn't, I tend to look deeper into what makes a person, who they are, and who they sleep with isn't one of the things even remotely close to the top of the list. I know some people make their entire identity about this, but I would argue that that's a mistake. That you should hang your hat on, so to speak, things that you do in life that matter, differences that you make, good deeds that you do. None of these things have to do with that. So it's just this, I don't know, this Twitter mentality of people being rewarded for this. It's the pronouns in the bio stuff. It's all this, like, outside in the real world, I hang out actually almost all the time. Every time I go out, there's a couple that I'm friends with. They're a little bit older than me, female couple. You know how many times they talk about, you know, their gayness? Never. They just talk about things as a matter of fact. And I just don't think people are like this in real life outside of maybe the coasts. Every person in this community that I've hung out with in real life never talks about it like these people online do. We talk about sports. We talk about, you know, relationship stuff. We talk about who parks bad in the bar parking lot. You know, all this kind of stuff. I don't understand people that I don't think it's healthy to identify so closely with something so out of your control. And it'll be interesting to see the spin. And if this has any real effect on ratings, it's going to be interesting to see the articles come out and say, oh, well, now the show's failing, blamed on the phobes. All the phobes out there. That's why the show is failing. Even though statistically, we know that the show has been just awful all year long. It's going to be interesting to see. Mark this little day on your calendar as this is the episode. This is the episode where it happened, and now it's going to be interesting to see if there's some sort of spin going around in the show. Like, oh, well, actually, it's been failing because people aren't ready for a woke superhero. Nah, it's just poor writing. Most of the CW shows are really poor writing.
You know, what if a future me tries to use your kiss with Archie against some future you? A bughead kiss right now in the present might be precisely what it takes to save a future bughead from imploding.
What the fuck?
Batwoman is not immune from that. The acting is subpar. The writing is subpar. The storyline's subpar. And most of all, the marketing is even worse because it's so adversarial in many ways. Much of what we saw, like, don't like it? Get used to it, sister. Batwoman's here and she's taking your girlfriend. Like, that kind of stuff doesn't appeal to people who want to watch superhero TV. It apparently appeals to a massive drop in audience week over week. We'll see how this continues. We'll ride this ride until it eventually craters, as I'm sure there's no return. There's no turning this around for Batwoman. This is what they've hung their hat on. They've hung their hat on wokeness, and now it'll eventually be repaid with brokenness. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.